everyone. Today we have the stock market update. So I'm going to switch the screen over, but I will remind you right off the bat that you can go up in the top right corner of the screen and click the little eye icon, and that will pull out the poll, which will allow you to vote in the fluctuation for next week. Now this week we had some interesting changes, a turn of events. It's actually quite a turn of events because it's somewhat in an opposite trend of previous weeks. But we will just start, let's start over here. So 12 received a 20% of the vote. Blue once again received a 40% of the vote. Blue received a 42% of the vote last week. Green received a 20% of the vote. Yellow received a 0% of the vote. And red received a 20% of the vote. So, as we have seen in prior weeks, there is a majority who have received the average amount of percent as their vote, and we also have some slight variation based off of the fact that we have seen more voting towards blue than yellow. So we're just going to check out the market factor. So let me clear that. Go grab the random number between 0 and 40, and we will see what that is. It is 28, which is a fairly bad day in the market. So that is not the best to see, but it also means that yellow has taken a large hit, and it also means that the entire market has taken a hit except for blue. So those invested in blue will be seeing somewhat of a leap this week. So let me click new market. Let me zero out the market factor. Let me grab these, copy them. We'll go to market trends, paste them in as the numbers they are, and you should see the new portion of the graph, I believe. Yes. So you can see that we saw a little bit of a dive last week, and we are seeing somewhat of a dive this week as well. So if we go back to the scoreboard, there is some reshuffling on the scoreboard, and I know someone will be happy to know that they are now above 100,000. So I will go largest to smallest, and you can see that the top three, Thomas, James, and myself, have not moved around much because we are all invested in blue. And I guess Thomas might have taken a little bit of a hit because of his yellow, but he has more in blue, so that shouldn't change too much. Megan, on the other hand, has jumped from below the bottom of the stock market all the way up to the top, and OC has continued his decline down to now last of the human competitors. Even Steven is still below everyone on the stock market, which is showing how bad the market is doing, but it also shows that people are generally doing better than the market, which is pretty nice to see. It's nice to see that everybody is kind of getting the hang of how things work here. But we can go, we'll have to update the Contestants Trends page, and I will just chat with you a little bit in the meantime. So we are going to go check out my game in a second here, and there has been a pretty nice update. So if you are interested in playing the game, you don't want to see any spoilers, there is a link in the description below. You can go check it out for yourself. It's completely free, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. It's nice to see that we're starting to get some more content into the actual game itself, and I'm working on a lot more dynamic content, not necessarily just adding story, but something that can kind of become its own story. So one thing I'll just throw it out there that I'm planning on working on next is actually fishing. So I have the ideas of how that's going to work. I'm thinking that there's going to be somewhat of a action-based casting system, not just like pushing a button, but Instead, there is going to be some action that you have to do that will determine how much of a cast it is, like how far the cast is, and similar ideas with reeling in. So 317. So I am excited to begin on that, but as of right now, the current update is actually the alcohol update. So the bar is technically fully functional. The bartender is the only person in it right now. I do plan to add more people in as the days go on, but that's just what I have so far. Oh, I just realized that Khalil is now above the other two that bought in at the same time, so that's nice to see. So we'll go Dan 89,000. OC is 79,500, and Khalil is at 93,500. So like I said, if you want to go check out the game, it is available for a very reasonable price of $0. You can actually donate if you want, but I don't think that's necessary. I mean, if you really feel like it, I don't mind money, I guess. And I guess speaking of money, in terms of my internship, I am actually going to be focusing on school in the fall. So I will actually have a little bit more time in terms of just general free time, but I also have one of my classes online. So I want to make sure that I have enough time for that. So obviously school comes first in most cases. So I'm going to be making sure that I have everything figured out in that sense. But I should be able to get into somewhat of a rhythm with homework and then have slightly more time to work on my projects as well. Especially since I will be home for most of that. So if I need to take a break from homework and work on something else, then that will also be an option. But I'm excited. I'm excited because I'll also be able to get into a nice workout schedule being on campus most days of the week. So I'll be, you never know, maybe I'll just turn into some gigantic rock person by the end of the semester, but I doubt that. Yeah, no, I'm just generally excited for the transition, although I won't be having as much pocket cash, I guess, just because I won't have a job, but I am still excited to continue my learning process. So the last two people that I need to plug into the calculator here, just for keepsake, is James and Thomas. So 103366, and those are our last four that we need. So let me go up to Megan's value. Megan's value is now 100,340, not 10,034. That would be very bad. Carly has a value of 83,658. James has a value of 104,248, and Thomas has a value of 103,366. So that is the final numbers that needs to be added in, and now we can go check out how the contestants' trends are going. So you can see that I have risen to the top, and I'm actually kind of pulling away from the pack a little bit just because of my large investments in blue, and red has been relatively stable because I give it a vote every week. So that's probably helping James out, but he hasn't caught up to me yet, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But you can see that James actually went down a little bit in the past week, and Thomas actually went up. So that's interesting because that means that they're getting a little closer together here, and we may see a possible exchange in the top three in the near weeks. You can see that even Steven has gone on this general decline, and OC has followed him fairly closely, even closer now, but we can zoom in a little bit maybe, and then not be able to see anything. There we go. But now you can't see who people are, so I'm going to zoom back out. And we can see that, who's this? This is Dan and that Mr. Positive are very close to each other. Dan has dropped tremendously since about week 8, and Mr. Positive has taken somewhat of a decline, but not as severe as the market, so that shows that he's actually made a positive profit in terms of total stock market ability, I guess. And then Carly is still beating the market in its trend, so that's nice to see. Definitely Megan has been somewhat spastic, but that's pretty normal. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the stock market. I'm going to save it off, and we are going to transition into the Easteria update. So I did mention that the latest update is the alcohol update, just because that means that the bar is now available. I realize that the mic might be capping out a little bit. Hopefully that's not too much of a problem. So I am just going to switch the screen over to Easteria, and we will get that started up. It may take a little bit just to start up the first time. Sometimes Pygame tends to be a little weird about that. So I'm going to hit New Game, and I did just put out the most recent update, so you'll notice that we're starting out in the start building, but you guys have seen this before, so I'm just going to go through it pretty quickly. One thing that I do need to add in soon is a use animation. So when I push the space key to use my object, I want it to kind of just like whip it over its head, the character here, so you can just kind of see that it's being used in that case. So let's go use it on this, because I think that it's a nice response. It just shows you that the button's working, that there's not something wrong with the game. So I don't necessarily need to go talk to the old guy to show off the new section. So yeah, so I'll kind of explain it in the start. So in one thing that I really like about the bar is it's actually a place that you can train statistics. So you can train your stats. Right now, all you can see is your health, and we do have some achievements that we earned along the way, just getting out of the building. But here's the music. Can I turn that down? Does that work? No, that doesn't actually affect the music on there. So once we're in here, it's a little quieter, but we can go talk to the bartender. And as I said, the conversation with the bartender actually will train your statistics. But there is a caveat to that. So if you I don't know, show some skin, then, well, sometimes he may not be interested. But if you are successful, then you do receive some level of intoxication. So let's just keep going, because it's a random chance. A random chance that gets better if you're better at a specific statistic associated with whatever you're doing. So here we go. This one is on the house, and you may not be able to understand from your perspective, but my keys are now inverted, so it's a little bit more difficult. And oh boy, now we have another one. So you can see that I am fairly intoxicated now as I am sliding around. I wonder if I can actually get myself out the door, maybe? Oh no, it's just back to inverted. Yeah, so if you get yourself out, it's so weird looking when you're swimming around and you're sliding like that. But what I'm not going to spoil everything. I'll let you guys try it out for yourself if you want to. But one fun thing to do is, if you do continually succeed with these with receiving drinks, then there will actually be some visual glitches. I basically made it so that the screen stops taking the old stuff off of the screen. So when you are in like a menu and you go out of the menu just stays there and it blinds you. So it's pretty funny, I think. But if you it also forces you to go left. I really like that because your keys get inverted. As you probably can't tell, I'm back to normal because I'm going clockwise. So let me just show you. So I'm going to do the exact same motion that I'm doing here when I receive a drink. So, alright, so let me get back down there. Alright, so I'm doing the exact same motion. You can see I'm going in the opposite direction. Oh, maybe not. But when I push the right key, I go left. When I push the up key, I go down. It's all fun. And then if you get a little bit more crazy, then I'm pushing the right key, I'm going up. I'm pushing the up key, I'm going right. I'm pushing the left key, I'm going down. I'm pushing the down key, I'm going left. But you can see that I banked. That means that my level of intoxication has adjusted itself over time. And also the amount of intoxication you receive from each drink is variable based off of your statistics. So it's random, but it's also weighted, so if you have certain statistics, you may be a little bit more resistant to the intoxication. So that's pretty much the whole update so far, and obviously I have the dynamic music, so that's fun. But you guys saw that in the last one. I did fix it, so you can hear that it is constantly going, and if I leave the building, then it gets louder again, but it always stays in the same spot on the song. So I was pretty happy with that actually turned out. I actually had too much code, and I just deleted some sections and it worked, and I didn't touch it. So that's how it's going right now. But yeah, so I'm gonna work on fishing because I think that'll be a very fun update, and hopefully by then we will have a fairly thick content in terms of the game, to where it might be pulling in some more attention. So that's pretty much it for right now. I'm gonna sign off, just make sure there aren't any questions in the chat. There are not. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I will be streaming on Saturday, I believe. I'm going to do some fan art of a particular YouTuber that you may know. So that'll be fun to see. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but we'll figure it out. And until then, I am signing off, so goodbye.